All right, good morning and welcome to Daf Yomi Moed Katan, Daf Daled number 4. I want to begin with a story I read on Friday, an interesting story. As some of you might know, there have been continuing protests, Hafganot, in the Gula neighborhood of Jerusalem over phone stores that sell non-kosher phones, smartphones or phones without a filter. They want the residents of Gula and the Rabbanim want them to get a kosher certificate. All the phone stores a kosher certificate. People in America might not be familiar with this. In America, I think it's accepted that as long as you have a smartphone with a filter, it would be okay. But in Israel, it's not so pasha. A lot of people don't allow smartphone selling, even if you would put a filter in. So there's been a constant steady of hafganot, protests over the past couple of weeks in Gula over this one store. There was even it was a terrible sight. It was really, really terrible. There was a chassid there. The way they disperse the crowds is they fire water out of like a fire hose that like a fire truck would use. And there was a chassid there. And he was saying, "Oh, go, like bring it on," And police lowered the water cannon, shot the guy right in the chest with the water, forced the water through the chassid back onto the concrete. He became unconscious. He had to be taken to the hospital. I think he's okay. But anyway, so on Friday, last week, Thursday, they were protesting as usual. The police already had enough of it already. But once there was word that the owner of the store agreed to get the kosher certificate, so they told us Aaron, they told us Avram Yitzchak Rebbe, he ordered his chassidim. He said once he got the kosher certificate and the hafganot, and they did. They listened to the Rebbe, to the hafganot. It's a nice thing to see that whether you agree with it or not, to make hafganot about these things or not, whether you agree smartphones are okay or not. It's nice to see that these people listen to the Rebbe. The Rebbe, whether he organized or not, I don't know, the hafganot, but he told them once the deal was in place that they would get a kosher certificate for the phone store. He dispersed the crowd. He was able. It's an amazing thing that the Hasidim, the loyalty they have to the Rebbeim, to their leaders, is something to aspire to. To have loyalty to a leader like that is something unique. We don't find too many leaders in the world that have people that are so loyal to them on an intrinsic basis. Maybe fear of a government or something like that might cause people to be loyal to them, but an intrinsic loyalty and fealty to a leader, it's an unbelievable thing. We'll all be loyal to him as his servants. Today we have an interesting animal to show off today.
I'm not an animal. That's very, very unkind.
Shmuel is not an animal. You will not encounter him in the zoo. You'll encounter him in the zoo, but he won't behind the cage. At least not yet.
I'm a human being.
He's a human being. He is the Homo sapien that they show off. He is with the apes. Him and the apes get along together.
Remember the elephant man? I am not an elephant.
He's not an elephant, but he's an ape. And he shares bananas with the apes. Sometimes they get into a fight and they ration off the bananas. They do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Sometimes Shmuel wins, sometimes not. Sometimes he's known actually to make wagers over the bananas. He gives the apes 2-1 odds that he can hit the basketball shot and get it. And he usually hits the basketball shot and he gets his bananas from the apes. Apes are not.
Oh.
All right. Anyway, enough with my storytelling.
If I would be an animal, I'd probably be a monkey.
But here we have. Look at this guy.
Oh, he's still like
A monkey. I want to touch him.
Yes.
Give him a hug. Give him a hug. There you go. Shmuel's giving the monkey a hug. Do you know that this monkey? There's a story behind this monkey, because it was one time my nephew came down. It was his monkey. He's about 6 or 7 years old, and he carried this monkey. I love the color. It's so colorful. Yellow and orange. I really loved it. I offered him 20 shekel for this monkey, and we made a business deal. He got 20 shekel, I got the monkey. I think we each thought we ripped each other off. But I paid 20 shekel for this monkey. It was a used monkey, but it's very cute. It's got nice colors. And,
Very nice.
and I think he probably spent it on a watch that broke already. So I got the better of the deal. I still have the monkey. And if you go to the zoo, you will see monkeys there. They will not look like this. This is not the color that monkeys are, but this is a cute little monkey. אתה הולך לגן חיות, אתה רואה, how do you say monkey, כזה? קוף כזה? לומדים מסכת מועד קטן. הולכים לגן חיות.
אתה מבין את הקשר? אני לא.
הולכים לגן חיות בחול המועד, כן? So, אני צריך להכין הציבור מה הם פוגשים בגן חיות. זה אחד מהדברים, זה המונקי. אומרים קוף? מונקי? כן? קוף. So, אם אתה הולך לגן חיות, אתה רואה כזה, כן?
מה צריך לברך? מה מברכים?
מה מברכים? זה לא כתוב בגמרא. זה כתוב... מה? משנה הבריות. מה השם שלך? חנן לימד הלכה. זה אם אתה רואה קוף כזה, רק כזה, בצבע כזה, אפילו צבע רגיל.
אפילו שימפנזה.
זה, מה מברכים על זה?
לא שימפנזה.
לא שימפנזה, על כזה, עם צבעים כזה, with this colors, מה מברכים? איזו ברכה? חלק מחוכמתו. Okay, we have that. I don't understand that. I guess the people that created dolls have a lot of. Thank you, Shkoya Hanan. All right, let's get started. All right, when the bottom Gimel and base, the Gemara says, Bahani Hilchas about 5 lines up. The Gemara said yesterday that Tosefes Shvius before Shvius is Aser from Halachah Mashmi Sinai. Bahani Hilchas Ninu Kraininu. It's really a pasuk. This nan B'charish v'katzir tishbos. It says that in the pasuk you should not plow and you should not reap during Shvius. Rabbi Kiva Omer ein tzarich lomer charish v'katzir shel Shvius. It can't be this pasuk is talking about actual Shvius. Shari kvar nemar sad chalus is Rav Karmel chalus. It says elsewhere in the Torah that you shouldn't sow your field and you shouldn't prune the branches during Shvius. El charish shel erev Shvius shenichta must be referring to the plowing of erev Shvius, plowing your field right before Shvius, so you'll be able to grow produce on Shvius. V'katzir shel Shvius, and reaping your field shel Shvius and yatzal lamote Shvius, the fruits that remained from the Shvius that were grown during Shemitah year, to reap them after Shemitah would also be aser. Shmuel Omer, Shmuel has a different shot in this extra pasuk. Charish v'katzir tishbot. Ma charish rishus, af katzir rishus. Just like charish is coming to teach you. The only things also on Shvius are charish that are discretionary that you want to do. A katzir is just also reaping that is discretionary. Yatsa katzir omer shi mitzvah. What you're allowed to do during Shvius, people don't know this, is that when the base mixes are around, you're allowed to cut down barley, right? You reap barley during Shemitah. You're going to bring Karban Omer, which you bring on Ted Zayin Nisan. You have to be able to bring that. So that's where Yishmael learned it out. Amar Rav Nachman Yitzchak. Kigmiri Hilchasa. So anyway, you see Rabbi Kiva holds there's a pasuk for Tosefes Shmias. Amar Rav Nachman Yitzchak. Kigmiri Hilchasa. The Mishri Alada. Cry Lemeser Zkena. The Hilchah Mishri, like we said, was Allah about what was it called? Eser Netios. Eser 10 saplings. Those are young trees. Young trees. That's the Halachah Mishri that comes to tell you those are mutter. The pasuk comes to tell you older trees is aser to plow before Shvius. Mm-hmm. So the Gemara asks,
what do you mean?
Okay, with the Hilchas the Mishri Alada, once the Halachah tells me that young trees are mutter to plow before Shvius, I can infer from that without a pasuk from the Torah that older trees are aser. El Hilchas the Rabbi Shmuel. So the Gemara concludes, Allah Mishri according to Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel doesn't learn out from the pasuk Tosefes Shvius. He needs a halacha l'shinai. Kra the Rabbi Akiva. The kra is for Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva doesn't learn from the halacha l'shinai. But Rabbi Yochanan Amar Ragamliel. So that's fine. So that Gemara answered until now that really 30 days before is midoraisa aser. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Ragamliel be'ezdina midoraisa batalu. Up until now, the Gemara is assuming that Ragamliel only was mevatel from Pesach and from Shavuos, but 30 days before he can't mevatel a doraisa. Comes Rabbi Yochanan and says Gamliel even was mavatel a doraisa. My time. How can you do that? Gemara Shabbos Shabbos Breish says Shabbos la'aretz by Shemitah, and it says Shabbos by Shabbos Breishis, meaning the day of Shabbos. We're on do malacha. Mala halan he has surul fanel lachar mutar. Just like Shabbos, the day itself is asur. Before and after is mutar. Afkan he has surul fanel lachar mutarin. Before and after are mutar. Maskiv la Rav Ashi asked the question. Madam Hilchasa Asik Zera Shava Akra Hilchasa Madam Rakra Asik Zera Shava Akra Kra. Fine, you want to tell me you have a Zera Shava, but Zera Shava is better than Halacha Mishina. It's better than a pasuk. It can't be. I mean, they're both level del Raisa. Why should one uproot the other? Elam Rav Ashi Ragnil Beistino Sarvi like Rabbi Shmuel. They hold like Rabbi Shmuel. There's no pasuk to tell me to live a Shvius. Dam Hilchasa Gmirula. They say it's Halacha. And what would Rabbi Shmuel say? He must hold that it's halacha mishvizina, right? 30 days before. All they're trying to say is because the Ger Shavuot will understand the halacha mishvizina to be referring to only when the base of English is around. Dumya Nisach Hamayim, like Nisach Hamayim and Arava, which only applied really when the base of English is around. Those three halachas were stated together. Esther Netios, Nisach Hamayim, and Arava. It refers to the time the base of English is around. It was Mancha, base of English Kayam low, but the Ger Shavuot comes to tell me the base of English is not around, then it wouldn't apply, and there's no Tosefes Shvius.
Wow.
Okay, Avalom Meg Sham Me'akilon. You're not allowed to water a field from a pile of rainwater or a well of water, because even though we said davar avid is mutter, and a field that is not a base habal, a base shlachen, which needs irrigation, you're allowed to water it, but it's not tircha yisera. You can't exert yourself too much on cholamois. So if you carry the water from these piles of water, it's excessive exertion. You have to take with a pail usually, and it's exertion to carry the pail back and forth. It's a lot of work. We refrain from doing that on cholamoid. Bishlama make hilon irkat ikat tircha yisera. When it comes to a well, you have to go put the pail in the well, and you have to take out the water. By rainwater that's piled up, that's gathered together, all you have to do is make a path with your foot from the rainwater to the field. And then that's not such hard work, and then the water will come and irrigate the field. Really, rainwater shouldn't be a problem, but if we matir rainwater, then we might come to matir water from a well. Rav Ashi Amar make sham gufayu lidei make kilon awesome. Megasham themselves are going to come to make kilon. What does he mean by that? He means that even though really all you have to do to get rainwater to irrigate the field is to make a path, but eventually the rainwater in the pile of rainwater is going to become less and less and less, and eventually it's not going to flow through the canal that you make. You're going to have to pick it up with a pail, and that's going to be a problem also, because that's tircha zera. And they argue this machlokes is centered around Rabbi Zera's teaching. The Amar Rabbi Zera, Amar Rabbi Bar Yemi, Amar Shmuel, the Haros Hamoshkan Mayim and Agam Mutal Hashkas Mehen B'Chol Moed. Let's say you have streams of water that come from Agamim, small ponds of water, and there's canal connecting, bringing the water from the ponds to the field. Are you allowed to use these on Chol Moed? Mar Islay the Rabbi Zera, Mar Leislay the Rabbi Zera. The person who says it's mutter holds a Rabbi Zera. The person, and that's why he said it's only asur Gzeira atuzah. And the one who holds that it's asur because it's actually a mekilon. It's like mekilon, because they hold the same idea over here. That when you have these canals coming from the pond, so therefore eventually the water is going to be much less, and you're going to come to pick up the water with pails, and it would be asur. Gufa. Amar Rabbi Zera, Amar Rabbi Yemi, Amar Shmuel, and Aras Hamoshkan Mayim and Agam Mutter LaHashkas Mehen B'Chol Shal Moed. You're allowed to use it on Chol Moed. Asive Rabbi Yemi, Rabbi Zera, Rabbi Yemi asked Rabbi Zera on his statement about Lo Meig Sham Lo Meikil. The Mishnah says you can't use water from a puddle of rainwater, and you can't use water from a well. Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah. So the same thing over here. It's going to come to Tircha Yisera. Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah, Bri, my son, Rabbi Yirmiyah, my son. Hani Agam the Bavel Kamaya de Lo Paski Damu. The ponds in Bavel, they're filled. They're very big ponds, and they're never going to have a cessation of water where it's going to be so low the water level that you're going to have to come pick it up with a pail. This is talking about ditches that were filled with water. Psikos are ditches that are not so well made. Brechos are pools of water that are made well. you can't take water from them and water a field on Kol Moed. Let's say you had a canal of water, a canal through the earth that had a spring of water, right, which supplemented the water that coming from the brechos and the psekos, then it would be okay. Mutter. Amar Rav Papa v'husha ruba shalosa sada shalosa ma'osa amas amayim. It has to be that the spring. The reason being over here, like before, we said the problem is that because the water is going to become very low and you're going to have to come take it with a pail. As long as we have a spring, an active spring over here, the water won't become so low. It'll never become so low, so there's no problem over there. So, but Rav Papa says it has to be that most of the field could be saturated from that amas hamayim. Because if not, only a little bit at a time, you're going to come to Tircha Yisera because you're going to come to want to water your whole field. So you'll bring with a pail just to make it faster. Rav Ashi Amar even though it doesn't naturally water most of the field immediately, since it's coming from a spring that's constantly flowing water, you'll say you're not going to exert yourself too much because you'll just say even though it's not going to get watered today, it'll get watered in 2 or 3 days. It happens naturally. Here we're talking about 2 fields. One, they're on a mountain. One's on top, one's on bottom. So if you have rainwater that's on top of the mountain and it's dripping down to the bottom one, you're allowed to take water that's gathered in the top field and use it on the lower field. Because the same reason being that it's going to get watered eventually. The pascha. But eventually the rainwater is going to run out. If it's not raining, the water is going to run out. You're going to come to Tircha Yisera. We're talking about a case where it's still dripping water. It's going to be dripping water for a long time. So therefore, you're not going to come to Tircha Yisera. You rely on the dripping of the water. Abaye qualifies as he says the original spring that waters the top field has to still be going on.
Thank you, friend.
Doors.
In Tziyum Masechta Megillah.
We'll finish the Megillah. It's Moed Katan.
Davidei Chachomim, Shedivrei Torah, Chavivim Aleichem. Oy Yashreichem, Davidei Chachomim, Shesiyemu Masechet Megillah.
יפה, הבנצין, יפה, וייטר, לא להפסיק את זה, פשוט השמחה שסיימתם, זה ממש... שמעת את... מה? לא, אני עוד לא.
אני שמעתי, דוד, הגן חיות בירושלים הוסיפו קוף כזה, לא רק קופים רגילים, קוף בצבעים כזה. כן, צריך בשביל זה ללכת לגן חיות בכל המועד.
יפה מאוד.
בירושלים.
יפה מאוד.
דואג, שמוע. כן,
בגלל זה אתה אומר מסכת מועד קוטן.
זה מועד קוטן,
כדי
צריך.
ללכת לראות את הקופים. אבל אם זה בסוכות, אז עיין מסכת סוכה, דף כ"ח עמוד ב' שרב לייזר אומר, משבח אני את העצלנים במועד, בחג, כדי להישאר בסוכה. אז מילא בכל המועד של סוכס לא הולכים לשום מקום, נשארים בסוכה.
אבל בכל המועד פסח.
צריכים להאכיל חמץ את החיות.
בפסח כותב.
Alright. Let's get back to the shir.
מה צזו? יפה.
אני אמרתי, גם זו לטובה, בכל המועד לא אומרים גם זו לטובה, רק אומרים זו.
יפה.
לא אומרים לטובה, רק אומרים זו.
אחד אמר לי, למה פסח?
כן.
פסח כתוב חיים אדם דורסת עצמו.
We have a lot of levity over here. If anyone is interested in coming to the zoo with me, Shmuel, Itamar, and David, everyone's going to come to the zoo. We're going to have a trip to the zoo. But you have to subscribe. You have to like this year. If you're part of this year, you watch this year. At least watch all the shiur. If you watch all the shiur Masechtas Moed Katan, you can come with us to the zoo. And we're gonna bring what's his name? Mashem Shalom. Coffee. All right, we're gonna bring him, and you'll drink some coffee there also at the zoo. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be amazing.
Itamar.
All right.
כן, איתמר? הוא אמר כן.
All right, these are my friends. All right, let's finish the daf. Shkoyach, guys.
Akira tzadikim, Ema tzadikim.
All right.
You know them?
Yeah, sure. All right.
They're nice boys. They're good boys, Baruch Hashem. They sit and learn.
All right, we have to finish the daf in a half an hour. That's the thing I try to
So you
do.
don't have a lot of time. You have
Tanya.
5 minutes. How are you going to do it?
We're gonna do it. Tanya, Hashem Menashe Omer Shtei Arugos Zul Mal Mizu.
I'm sorry, I went like this.
It's okay, don't worry about it. Sorry, it's about having fun in this year. Shtei Arugos with seriousness, the modicum of seriousness, of course. All right, we have to go on. Shtei Arugos. Tanya, Hashem Menashe Omer Shtei Arugos Zul Mal Mizu. You have two arugos, two patches of fields, two patches of land. Well, you can't if you're going up, you're taking the water upwards, right? You have one patch of field below, and then you want to carry the water up the mountain. You can't do that. Even afilu aruga achas chetzia nama chetzia gavo. Half of one patch of land, half is on the lower portion of the mountain, half is on the top portion of the mountain. Because it's tirchei seir to bring the water up the mountain. Tanya, Tarabanan, Madan lirakos k'il olchan. The Mishal Yapos on Aser. The original explanation of this is that you could pour water on vegetables as long as you plan on eating them on Chol Moed, because you're going to make them, even though it's harvacha, it's making it better, but you're going to eat them. It's sorech hamoed, so it's mutter. Mishal Yapos on Aser. If you just want to make them nicer for after Chol Moed, you can't do that. Ravina Rafto Sva Havu Ka'azi Ba'orcha against Vilas Tircha. Ravina Havu Ka'azi Ba'orcha. They're going on the way. Chazal Hu Gabra to have a Dali Davla Bechol no Moed. He was taking a pail of water Chol Moed. Amal Ravatos Fella Ravina said to Ravina, Lacy Marla Shamte, put the guy in excommunication. Put him in Idoy. He's doing Tircha Seir on Chol Moed. Amal Levatanya Madli Rakas de Locha. Maybe he's doing it down the Kapskos. Maybe he's doing it to water the vegetables. He wants to eat them on Chol Moed. Amal Levatanya my Madlin. Madlin Maya? You think Madlin means to pour water on the vegetables? My Madlin, Daladim and Beis. What does Madlin mean? It means something else. Madlin Shlufe means take out. Let's say you have a lot of vegetables clumped together, gathered together in a field. You let it take out some of the vegetables to enable the other vegetables to grow better. But to carry water in a pail to water them, that's tircha, so you're not allowed to do that. This time, how do you know meidal means that? To thin it out. Meidal b'kfanim k'shem shu meidal b'shalo kach meidal b'shalaniyim divrei Rabbi Yehuda. When it comes to thinning out a grapevine, if there's a lot of grapes growing there, you're allowed to thin out. Obviously, you're allowed to thin out. You do whatever you want with your own produce. But also aniyim for the peah or the field, you also allowed to thin out, take away some of the grapes from the aniyim in order that they should have quality. The grapes should be a better quality, according to Rabbi Yehuda. Remeir Omer. B'shalo Rasha, he's only allowed to thin out his own grapes. They don't Rasha the B'shal Aniyim, but the Peya, he can't do that. Because they'd rather have a quantity, that Aniyim would rather have quantity over quality. Amarle, so you see, Madlin doesn't mean to water, it means to thin out. Amarle Vatanya, he said back to Madlin Mayim L'Yarachas De La'ochlan. The Brisa says, Madlin Mayim, it says water. So you see, Madlin means to pour water on the Yarachos. Amarle, Tanya, he was finally Moed. If it says in the Brisa, it says Mayim, I have to agree to it. Venos and ugios the kfanim. My ugios. Ugios sounds like a cookie. What is the ugios? Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Now this is a halacha only by Chol Moed. That if you have like a cookie, right? A cookie is like a pot. You have a pot of kfanim where you grow. This is talking about gardening. Gardening. I said yesterday, a big chiddush more. That gardening is mutter on Shavios, completely mutter from a gzeras hakasa, from a pasuk on Daf Gimel and Beis, Gimel and Aleph. Gardening by a Chol Moed. This mission is talking about Chol Moed. That you can't do for tircha. Even gardening is also on Chol Moed. My ugios, I don't know banki, ditches of water. These are pails. These are, pots where you keep the farm. You have a private garden where you keep your private grapevines and private olive trees. Tanya namihachi elohin ugios bedidin shebikre azesim. These are the ditches, the small ditches you make at the roots of an olive tree.
Gardening on Shemitah, you'll have
gardening. Don't take it to halacha. I'm not saying halacha l'ma'aseh. I'm telling you b'derech chiddush, drosh v'chiddush.
Oh no, that's
v'jikrig fanim. It's v'jikrig fanim. Any is this true at the bottom of the grapevines? Any the true. Rav Yehuda shara l'bnei bar tzisai. When the eved banki lekarmeyan, he allowed them to make gitches lekarmeyan. Lo kash habachati habatiki. When it comes to virgin soil, new soil, that is tircha yisrael. You're not allowed to do that. Habatiki. When it comes to old soil, which is already loose, then you're allowed to make the ditches over there because it's not tircha yisrael. Lezer ben Azariah Omer, And also as ama, you can't clear out an ama as a canal which brings water to the field. Bishlam Moed, if there's dirt in there, the water should get through. Bishlam Moed, Mishum de Katarach, there's Tircha Yisera. El Shvi is my time. What's the reason you can't do it on Shvi? There's no Isra of Tircha on Shvi. It's Pligubar, Rabbi Zera, Rabbi Aber, Mamal. It's Machlokas. Kanamar of Neshinira Oder. One says it looks like you're hoeing because you're softening the land. The Kanamar of Neshin Machshir Agafel is real. When you take out the dirt from the actual canal, you're softening that dirt, and the dirt that comes on the banks of that canal is now going to be ready for Zriya. It looks like you're actually planting. You can't plant on Shvi. It's my Benayu. What's the practical difference between them? Mika Benayu, the Ka'asu Maya Basre. When he removes the dirt, water is going to come fill the canal. Because the dirt on the banks of the river is soft. Now it looks like you're planting it over there. Like you're hoeing the actual ground there, the Amo. Canal Leka, there's no Leka because the Mayim show that you're not doing it. It's just water comes, you're not planting. The one that says it looks like hoeing, he should be aware of the other reason. What's the practical difference? The he takes the dirt and throws it very far away, where the dirt scatters. Because it's the dirt is spread out so thinly, it's not going to be suitable to plant with. According to the one who says like you're hoeing, then it would be a problem. Why does he have a problem and it looks like you're hoeing? When you hoe something, you just soften the land in that place. You put it back where it is. You just soften the land. Here he's taking it out of the canal. Amemar taught the reason in our Mishnah is because like your Oder, Akashal, Elazar ben Azariah. He had a question because the Mishnah is talking about the sheet of Elazar ben Azariah. He had a question in one sheet, a statement of Elazar ben Azariah, another statement of Elazar ben Azariah. And it looks like it's Oder, it's Oster, Minu, Osin, Adam, and Zivlo, Otzer. You're allowed to take dung, which people use as fertilizer. You're allowed to pile it up in your field on Shvius. Or Meir says you can't do that. You have to prove that you're not doing it to fertilize the field. If you put it 3 tvachim in the ground, or you raise it 3 tvachim from the ground, so it shows that you're not doing it to fertilize your field. Most of Allah, if we already had dung previously there, then even though it's on the ground, you could add on to it because it shows you're not fertilizing the field. He says even if there's previously there, you still have to put it within 3 tvachim under the ground or 3 tvachim above the ground. Or you put it on a rock. So how do we answer the question? He answers over there. He answers because it looks like you're Oder, like you're softening the land, like you're fertilizing the land. It's talking about where it already was before Shvius. It already was deep, 3 tvachim. Because he says you have to dig 3 tvachim. So he says how could you dig 3 tvachim? That was a question of Azaria. He said you can't make an amma, you can't make a canal, but if you have to dig 3 tvachim, he said he seems to allow you to dig 3 tvachim on Shvius. So the answer is it doesn't mean that he actually is allowed to dig. It means if he dug previous to Shvius, then he could put it. The second opinion says he is allowed to dig in this case because once he puts the fertilizer immediately there, it shows that he's not doing it to be Oder to soften the land. You're allowed to fix paths or rivers that became makulkal. If it was a tefach, normally amma comes to the word amma is 6 tvach. Amma means a canal, but it also means amma is a measurement, which means 6 tvachim. So if it got filled up to the fact that now it's only a tefach, you're allowed to restore it to 6 tvachim. Pshita chatzi tefach shlosh tvachim came in the oven maya aramaya lo klumu. If it was half a tefach, right, it got filled up till half a tefach, you only make it 3 tvachim. That doesn't help you. Even though you do it 6 times the amount we allowed before, because water is not going to come through. You need 6 tvachim to come through. That's also obvious. If it originally was 12 tvachim deep, and now it's only 2 tvachim deep, and you wanted to lower it 6 times the amount, you can't do that because you have to lower 10 tvachim. That's tircha yisera. We never allowed you to do that. The Mishnah didn't allow it. Lo, Tvachayim al Shiva Ma. What if it was 7 Tvachim deep and now it's only 2 Tvachim deep? Ma, Hacha Chamisha Kamamik, Hacha Chamisha Kamamik. Just like we said, you're allowed, if it's 1 Tavach, you're allowed to be Mamik 5 Tvachim to get to 6. Here also, you're at 2, you can lower it to 7. Oh, Dilma came and Ika Tavach Yaseir, Ika Tircha Yaseir. Or maybe.
6 Tvachim is enough.
No, but it was effective as a 7th Tvachim canal. That was it was effective.
Right.
So here, since but here, but since now this one is a little it's 2 tefachim from the ground as opposed to 1 tefach from the ground, you have to bend down more. So it's tircha yaser. You're not allowed to do that. Teku, we don't have an answer to this question. Abaye shara the bnei bar hamdech l'shkufe nahara. He allowed them to clear the branches out of a river. Rabbi Yirmiyah sharalu bnei sachusa l'michra nahara. He allowed them to unclog river, a stream of water, tamima, that was clogged up in order the water should flow and they should have water to drink. He allowed them to remove sand from Bornitz, the river of Bornitz. Amar came the Shastamine Rabim Kerabim Damu Vistana Osim Kol Sarach Rab. And the reason all these Amoraim allowed them to do this is because these were streams and rivers where they took water from to drink also. And Sarach Rabim is allowed even when there's Tirach Yisera on Chol Moed. We'll stop here for today. Say goodbye to coffee. He's called Coffee. Coffee.
Kofi Annan?
He's from Brazil or Indonesia. Bye.
Bye.